up? What are you nerdigans? This is the one and only Packer Girl 89, and today's book nerdigan discussion is going to be on Forsaken by Thomas D. Sniegoski. And if you have not read The Fallen, Leviathan, The Airy, Reckoning, End of Days, or Forsaken, or have not watched the book nerdigan discussion videos for The Fallen, Leviathan, The Airy, Reckoning, or End of Days, then why the commie and Arceus are you here? You're not going to understand a single thing I'm saying unless you read the books and watch the videos. And Tom, you're still getting your hashtag, the 27 B-Day extravaganza, even though my birthday was about 2 weeks ago, but whatever. I promised you the hashtag, so yeah. And yes, this is part of the hashtag AngelReadAthon. We are so close to the end of the hashtag AngelReadAthon. One more series to review after this before we're at the final series. Before the rant. We're so close. But yes, this is the cover. And it is so beautiful because Aaron is a sexy beast. And thank you, Tom, for putting a sexy topless man on the cover. It makes all of us women swoon. Okay, so we have the prologue, which is a Jeremy Fox POV, and this is how it really starts here. So he could still feel the effects of the wormy thing that had been inside his head, setting up house, taking control of his body, and making him fight his friends. And Jeremy remembered fighting Aaron, and part of him had struggled not to hurt the leader of the Nephilim, but another part not so much, because if Aaron were dead, Vilma would be his, because he's in love with Vilma. Yes, he is. And Jeremy, remember at the end of near the end of the last book, when they were fighting Wormwood, Jeremy left the Airy to be with his mother, who was psychically calling to him. And with the combination of purging the worm-like monster that controlled him and his battle with Aaron, the Nephilim side of Jeremy's nature sensed that the world around him had been savagely injured too. And Gabriel's touch had healed his body, but it hadn't given him new clothes. Yeah, he's still naked. And then Irene, who if you nerdigans don't remember, is Jeremy's mom. She says, I saw that you'd be needing some when I called out to you, so I helped myself to a poke about the nurses' station where otherwise occupied. So yeah, Irene is freaking smart, and she got him clothes. And deep into the psychiatric hospital, but first, before they go into a little bit deeper, there's a very she says that there's a very special child, one that must leave with us if he's going to live up to his promise, because remember, there's a virgin birth. Yeah. And Dr. Troden, it's me, Irene. I'm supposed to be here, doctor. We've come for the child, my son and I. We're supposed to have him. Let us in before it's too late. And I like that we have that Jeremy's wings are a smoky gray. I think that's so cool. I just like the different colors of wings. And he used his glory axe to slice Dr. Troden's gun. And I love that. Like, I love I love that they're just not using glory swords, because it gets boring after a while. And I love that they can form different weapons with their glory. I think it's just awesome. And then Dr. Troden says, we were told to expect someone, but I never would have imagined it would be you. And then Irene says it's a baby boy. And Dr. Troden says, it's all right, Rajat. These are the ones we've been waiting for. Who was the unknown girl that died during the virgin childbirth? She was a vessel for the child. That's all we know and all we're supposed to know. And it makes sense that she died during the virgin childbirth because of what the child is. So yeah. And Irene says, now we take him somewhere safe, and he's supposed to be with us. That's all you really need to know. And we have to protect him with our lives, or what we see in the world now, and what you're feeling now, it will all be so much worse. And then what happens is now the doctors, basically when they leave, the doctors have to blow up the basement, and Dr. Troden says the child coming into this world, they're going to know about it. The architects, the architects are worse than the scale, than the fucking, what was the other one I was thinking? Oh, the scale, the sevens who we're going to see in the next series, and, oh my god, Kami and Arceus. I can't think of the other, ones off the top of my head. But yeah, they're a whole lot worse than them. Let's see. But he'll be gone with you. No one will be alive to tell them anything. And yep, this whole thing is a suicide mission. And Godspeed, keep the child safe from the architects and the evil of the world at large. I think, and then I renames the child Roger. She's like, the child looks like a Roger. And then the Nephilim have won the honor of being Earth's protectors against the unnatural. But then a heavenly threat had arisen. The abomination of desolation, an angel of destruction. And I put in my notes, it's like, I wonder if they're related to Beerus or Champa. Because they are gods of destruction. Maybe it would be Beerus in this realm. Because he's our universe's god of destruction. Okay. Had come to the world of man, and he believed the earth was ripe with evil and had attempted to destroy that planet. And then earlier, Aaron had seen a report on CNN that monsters had taken up residence under the Golden Gate Bridge, preventing any travel between San Francisco and Marin County. Why? Dude! Why is it always San Francisco? And local law enforcement, even the National Guard, have been called in to deal with these creatures identified as a species of Asian troll called Oni. Aha! Yeah, the Asian trolls are under the bridge. And of course it's because all these Asians are in frickin' San Francisco. Haha. But the loss of life had been great. And since the abomination had cut the world... Oh, frick. I scrolled too far. Here we go. Since the abomination had cut off the world from heaven, the daylight hours were becoming shorter. The darkness falling earlier and earlier all around the world. Like, seriously. Aaron, fuck it. Kill all those motherfucking Oni and kill them anyway and show no mercy. Seriously, as the way of the freaking pajamas. And I swear to Kami, like, Aaron has become like the future Trunks right now, because the future Trunks are the future Gohan. And Vilma is totally, like, if we're going to go with the Gohan route, Videl is totally, or not Videl, Vilma is totally the Videl to Aaron's Gohan, totally. And I love what Gabriel's funny. Like, Gabriel's like, trolls, I don't like trolls at all. And then I'm like thinking while I'm reading this part, the battle scene, I'm like, where are the centipedes when you need them? And Lauralee is just fucking, like, going off on Dusty. She's like, get up. You only get to die when you've outlived your usefulness. And I see a whole lot of potential in you and that horror show going on inside your skull. I love Lauralee. She's so awesome. And Lauralee made a magic sensu bean energy drink. Yeah, I'm calling it a magic sensu energy drink. Just deal with it. And Lauralee is she's still dying from the life force being used by the magics. And when she does go, she wants Dusty to take over where she left off. And yes, Lucifer is still alive, but he's trapped in the subconscious. And Satan the Darkstar plans to eliminate him by having the darkness consume him. And yes, we get a Darkstar POV. Yes, we did. Because we didn't really get the demon child's point of view in the last book, so it's kind of nice to have that in this one. So he knows that the body he possessed was not yet entirely his. He could feel the morning stars struggle inside him. And then we have Skox, who's the last of the imp species, because Satan just killed the rest. And then Satan goes, "You never suspected what I was up to. I doubt that he was even aware of my existence. But in the shadows I toiled, a nudge here, a tweak there, and my plans began to fall into place. And now this world, this breeding ground of humanity that he was so proud of, belongs to me." I gotta say, this just reminds me of Bach and the Soul King. It just does. It just does. Alright. Let's see. And then Scott says the leaders of the community have requested an audience, and Satan says some still do not recognize me as their lord, even after all I have given them. And Scott says the community is an ancient fellowship. To them, you are young and unfamiliar. What? Like, I agree with Satan. Satan's like, young. I've been since before the Lord God's pronouncement of light in the creation of the universe. But at the same time, it's like, wait a minute, young, like, even Lucifer is freaking old as shit. Like, he was there after, the angels were created, like, around the time light was created. Like, God. And then Scots goes, but they do not know you. And then here we go. So according to, now we're getting to the Verchil. So according to Verchil, angels did not dream, although they do remember. And we see his memories from when he was under Camille. Yee, I miss Camille. I love Camille. And then we, hold on a second. Okay, so Verchil is like having more of a vision than anything, more of a dream vision kind of thing. And he sees the prophet from the past. And he says this, and this kind of reminds me of what Bach was saying in this week's Bleach chapter. He says, the future diverges on many paths, but one thing remains the same no matter what, how often the bones are thrown. My life has already ended, and the bones told me as much, just as they foretold your coming. Heaven has not come for me. This is how heaven speaks to me. It tells me that a chosen one, a savior of the Nephilim, will bring absolution to the fallen, no matter how hard you try to destroy them. That this chosen one will bring about the end of you and yours. And through the fire, Verchil watched the old man, his body aflame, pick up his brushes and continue to paint his vision. And the prophecy that he foretold continued on even longer than Verchil remembered. I think it was because Verchil destroyed him before he could finish, whatever. And let's see. Okay, I'm with Cameron because Cameron is super scared of spiders. I'm super scared of spiders, especially those with humanoid faces in the fucking subway. So they're in the subway, and then we see Malice, and we get Malice's point of view. I like that we get an introduction, We get an introduction. So Malice was the first lieutenant to Lucifer Morningstar and had believed in his commander's mission with every fiber of his being. And for the angels of heaven had been cast aside in the favor of the Almighty's newest creations. And Malice did get hurt, and Cameron took the injured Malice back to the school. And then Lauralee says, is teaching Dusty the magics. So she says this. So Archon Magics is alive in its own way. Hence why it's basically eating her alive. It's the power of the living and everything that ever lived, given shape and purpose. And she says to Dusty, too, because Dusty's like, why the fuck are you teaching me magics? I'm human. I can't do this. And she says this to Dusty, you stopped being human the minute you took the instrument into your possession. And Gabriel, like, freaking fell into a trap because he saw a dog or whatever, and he wanted to play. And, yeah, he fell into a trap. And Lauralee says this. Oh, wait a minute. No. And then, holy crap. Like, then Gabriel unleashed heavenly fire on this fucking toad. And apparently the toad tasted like ash. But that was so awesome when Gabriel first unleashed the heavenly fire. I was like, holy shit. But anyway, and then we get to Lauralee, and she says, I think the magics I've shown Dusty has helped him process information being broadcasted by the sword. And then Dusty says this. This is from the sword. Evil is spreading. As the daylight spreads, the darkness spreads. And it's so badass. Like, he shows how the evil is spreading on a globe. It's so fucking cool. And it spreads and spreads, and then the light of the world is extinguished. The shadow will move on, climbing higher and higher toward the ultimate source of light. To satisfy its voraciousness, the shadow will reach to the sky, and one by one, the stars will go out until its hunger is so great that it will feed upon heaven itself. Then the black of nothing will hold indomitable sway over all. And it's only a possibility. The instrument, the sword, shows me multiple outcomes, like the Almighty in Bach's case. Because remember, in this week's Bleach chapter, Bach said he could see multiple futures and multiple possibilities. Let's see. The instrument, yeah, it's only a possibility. The instrument, the sword, shows me the multiple outcomes, the strongest being the most likely. But there are hundreds, maybe even thousands of possibilities. Oh man, Verchil. Oh, Verchil is hilarious when he sees Malice. You're absolutely insane, admirable but insane. Now I understand how you beat me and my powers. You're too damn stubborn to recognize your defeat. Oh my god, I love when he said that to Eren. I was just like thinking, yeah, that's a Vegeta thing to say. Vegeta would probably say that shit. And then, and the Verchil went into must kill Malice mode. He's like, fuck, I'm gonna kill this fucker. And then the Sisters of Umbra. Now we get to the Sisters of Umbra. In turn, they say we require more energy, or oh blackest of stars. Terror and sadness must permeate the atmosphere. The fear engines must be fed if the night eternal is to fall. And then Satan gives the council a last chance to accept him as their ruler to live. And then, and Satan's mercy. And then I love this writing because this was bomb. So, but beasts such as this seldom use their brains, being so caught up in their lust for blood. I was just like, wow. As a Duger troll, the largest of the troll species and the most vicious, who raised its axe above its head and with a roar inspired those still alive to attack once more. And then Satan murdered the community of trolls, goblins, giants, and demons. I was like, wow. Yeah, trolls are not the sharpest tool in the shed. And then in a dream, Jeremy and Vilma were kissing in a dream. And they both remembered it, and they remembered, like they were feeling it, and they remember the feeling and everything. That was like, whoa. And then we get to be, like, I swear to Kami and Arceus, Baby Roger is freaking Stewie. He totally is Stewie. Who else? I want to know if you nerdigans thought that Roger was freaking Stewie. Baby Roger is totally Stewie, especially like this. Would you be so kind to get me a bottle, Jeremy? I'm absolutely famished, and I think I may have soiled myself. Jeremy, I have my knees. I was like thinking, yeah, this is Stewie. This is just Stewie. And then Lauralee, now we get to Lauralee on the Beasties. I took a little psychic walk not too long after our meeting. I wanted to see if I could find some of the larger nests of beasties in the world. And I like that she says beasties. And I realized that many of these threats showed no signs of even being on the planet until they were. Because remember, in End of Days, the corpse riders were talking about coming through rifts in rifts in this dimension. There you go. Let's see. Until they were, and there are always those random creatures hiding at the bottom of a mine shaft or swimming in the deepest parts of the oceans. But the majority of these creatures are opening passages from another to come here and raise some hell. So the goal is basically to stop them when they cross over. And then in Lucifer's memory, like, because remember Lucifer we're getting more adventures into Lucifer's subconscious and memory. But this time we get a lot more detail because I think it was in Reckoning. Yeah, in Reckoning we just got to see paintings in the cave. No, this time we get a full-blown one. So this is when God created earth and the garden. So this is what God said to Lucifer. It is to be the home of my latest creations. They shall be my greatest achievements. Through them, all that I am and that I shall ever be will be exemplified. And on the angels, you shall always have a place. And Lucifer watched this vision transfixed as God took up mud and dust and dirt and fashioned this new creation. And then he breathed life into what had non-life and a piece of himself. It kind of reminds me of... oh my God, of Prometheus, the legend of Prometheus. If you don't know about the story of Prometheus, look it up. And his clay creations. Creations of the first humans. There we go. And then blah, blah, blah. I present to you the first of humanity, and that's when Lucifer first knew the feeling of hate. A hate that would gestate over time, giving birth to his fall of and destruction. But from this fall, there would also come a gift of salvation. And then we get the point of view from an agent, from one of the the architect's agent that's hunting down Malice at the school. So once the architects had seen something special in the one called Malice, his beliefs had mirrored their own. They had welcomed him into their fold and given him purpose. But something had happened. Something had turned him into the path they had paved for him. Now there's a hit on him, and the architects sent an agent to kill him. Agents were relentless in their pursuit and never resting until they found their quarry. But once they did, once their purpose was fulfilled, their lives ended. Yeah, agents are simplistic. And seriously, Malice, this fight with Malice and the agent was so cool. Malice is just a badass. He snuck up and killed the agent while Aaron and agent were fighting. It was great. And then we have... we have a Goku Vegeta moment. Like you could even say a Gohan Vegeta moment with Aaron and Malice. And Aaron says, "Did you have to kill him?" And Malice says, "If I hadn't, the agent wouldn't have stopped until we were both dead." And the agent, they took off the agent's mask, and the agent is a freaking Neanderthal. And Malice says it's much easier to augment than the more evolved members of your species. Okay, now we're gonna get to how Baby Roger is totally freaking Stewie. he says, damn it, somebody feed me this instant. Well, obviously I'm having some difficulty. You're not going to use that spoon to feed me, are you? It's filthy. Get a clean one. Well, see that you don't. And hurry up. I'm starving. I'm a growing boy and all that nonsense. And he has I swear to God, he has a bottomless stomach. Like, I don't know if Roger is a Saiyan, but I'm starting to think so. He's a Saiyan baby. Color. I can see color now. Fascinating. I must admit the situation here is rather unique. The only thing I can assure you is that there's a reason for all this, and you'll know as soon as I do. I do hate missing anything basically on TV, but that's the wonder of television. There's so much it can teach you. 24 glorious hours of information. I wouldn't be half the baby I am now without it. And something told me that I needed to proceed, and I did what was required of me, escaping that silly crib and locating the remote control. It was like being immersed in a fountain of knowledge. This was a Tolstoy moment when he was like saying, damnation, I'm cutting a tooth. I was like, oh my God. Like, I don't know if I would say Jeremy is like the Brian to Roger Stewie, but I'm starting to think that way. So now we get to why, oh, frickin' A. Whoa. Why Malice didn't kill Verchil when he could. That would be too easy for me and for you. We both need to see the future we have wrought. And then from the darkness, they emerged, like multiple suns giving rise to chase away the eternal dark. These globes of golden fire were covered in multiple sets of staring all-seeing eyes, and the eyes were all turning to Malice. Now we're getting to the architects here. We are the architects, and the future is ours to build. And the architects, and this is what I find interesting about the architects. The architects are very similar to the Scale in the Fallen series by Lauren Kate. The architects were supposedly the very first of God's creations, produced to aid him in the task of plotting out the universe. Once they had served their purpose, the Almighty had reabsorbed the architects into his being. Then he was said to have used them in the creation of the angels themselves. And then the architects go on to say this. The architect, Malice, the architects have watched you, Angel, and have seen the depths which you have fallen, but we have also seen your potential. We see in you an ability to serve us, the ability to perform as one of our agents out in the world to serve a greater goal. But first you must prove yourself worthy to serve our lofty goals. Your task is of the... Excuse me? Sorry, this is like my third video I'm recording today, so... Your task is of the utmost importance to our cause. There is an angel second only to the Lord God. He is the true... he is the Metatron. Metatron is important, people. And he is God's voice, God's will in the world. You must kill him for us. And then Malice assists to allow him, basically Verchil, to be aware of the world have be aware of it would have interfered with their grand schemes. And they didn't share. To be aware of that would have interfered with their grand schemes. They didn't share that with me. They simply expected me to carry out my assigned task. At first, seemed to be random acts, but when I began to figure into other agents' assignments, patterns began to emerge. The architects have led the world to this. This is all part of their plan, and perhaps a greater plan is in motion here. Yeah, so that bastard demon child or Satan Darkstar, no, this wasn't him that's causing this shit. It's the fucking architects, those bastards. Perhaps a greater plan is in motion here. I'd yet to figure it out before I left their service, and perhaps I saw something of this world and its inhabitants that made me realize I had made a mistake. And Malice cut off his own wings. If I were to leave the architects, I had no choice. And Laura Lee says this too, that every angel's wings are distinct, like a person's fingerprints. Each gives off its own unique magics. And then Malice responds, they would have been able to find my trail whenever I used them. I had to be sure that I would not be followed. The loss of my wings and the sigils that he put on his body have rendered me nearly invisible to my former masters until I was injured, and one of the sigils was interrupted, sending out an invisible alarm to those whose only purpose was to watch out for me. His sole task was to find and eliminate me, and now that he's gone, I'm sure another has been given the same task. But we are in luck. We have its gleaming blade. Careful of its point. Just a prick is enough to devour everything stored in your brain. Damn, that shit is crazy. Like, can you imagine have it using that shit. Oh my god. Oh, where are you? The agent was going to use it on me to find out everything I've learned, seen, and heard since leaving the service of the architects. But the agent never got the chance, ending up a victim of its own weapon. And everything he knew is now stored within the blade. That is so freaking cool. Like, just imagine, I'm going to get political for a second. Just imagine if we stabbed, like, Osama bin Laden. If we, like, the Navy SEAL stabbed Osama bin Laden with that shit. Or stabbed some of the terrorists in Gitmo with that. That would be so freaking cool. Anyway, and I still love Lucifer and Taylor's love story. And then we find out more about, you know, Aaron's past. So, because Malice knew more. I wasn't even sure that you had survived. After you were born, I made sure you were safe by putting you into the system. At the time, your mother was in true danger, and she was the one who needed my help to survive. Because the powers... if you remember from earlier books in the series, the powers were going after women that Lucifer loved. Yeah. I knew that it was only a matter of time before they came for her, the human woman who tamed the Morning Star. And then when I found out she was with his child, I knew what had to be done. Let's just say I admired her from afar. I saw a power in her, and the more I saw, the more I was changed as well. It's as she, your mother, who swayed me from serving the architects. If the Morning Star could live amongst them, love one of them, then who was I to want them dead? And fearing for her safety, Lucifer departed before learning that she was with child. I felt a certain responsibility to my former commander. Aww. As well as the woman he had come to love. And besides, I knew how valuable she and her unborn child could be to the architects. I watched her through her pregnancy, shielding her from danger, and when it was time, I was with her, and she did die giving birth to you. Well, that doesn't surprise me, because if you remember in the Sweet Evil series, the women usually die giving birth to Nephilim, especially the human, even Nephil women do, because of the Nephil's soul being so freaking powerful. Let's see. My concern at first was you. I knew that at birth you would be just a normal child, and I made sure you were put into the foster system where you would be cared for. I knew that once you reached maturity, problems would arise, but that was a worry for another time. And basically, Taylor was dead, but not for long. Her body was taken to the hospital morgue, but there was still enough spark within her for me to work with. I fanned the flame of her life. I restored her. Holy shit! I was afraid, but I also saw the benefit of keeping her alive. After all, she was the human woman who tamed the Morning Star, and the architects had enemies. They still do. And they're gonna come next book! Yes, they are! I contacted those enemies and told them who she was, and they took her away. And truthfully, I do not know if she's alive. And that night was the last I saw of her. And there wasn't a choice, Aaron. The architects would have used her as a bargaining chip with Lucifer. I did what I thought was best for her and for you. And then, let's see. Long ago, when I was still in service to the architects, they employed powerful magical machines called fear engines. And this is why the darkness is so bad. Let's see. They do not make fear, they collect it. And these engines use fear as a power source to perform complex acts of magics. And this is making them very powerful indeed. Powerful enough to eventually stop the sun from shining. The fear engines are hidden all over the world, and the architects have employed their most powerful magics to keep the machines from being detected. You would think it would be demon magics, but, oh, God. Let's see. Well, thanks to Dusty's connection to the instrument and Laurelie's magics, they found where the fear engines and split up. So you have Gabriel going by himself, and then you have Malice and Aaron, and then you have Vilma and Cameron, and then you have Rachel and Melissa. Like, that was the most interesting one. I was like, oh shit, that's gonna be really crazy. And then Laurelie was fucking stupid, and I know she had good intentions and she wanted to find Lucifer, but she exposed their location to the Dark Star. And of course, you know what? I'm surprised by you, Tom, that if there wasn't a fear engine in Chicago, but a fear engine is in Detroit. Who else was not surprised that a fear engine was in Detroit? I was not surprised by this. And one is in the land where the prophecy first began. which I thought was kind of it. And that was where Melissa and Verchiel went, which I like that. It was Verchiel went there. So now we get to Tarshish memories of the Metatron. I love Tarshish. Tarshish and Malice, like, they are like the best freaking pair ever. So let me get to the memories of the Metatron. So the Almighty chose one of his beloved pets to wield this power of change. The human's name was Enosh. Enosh is important. And the Lord of Lords, because remember, Enosh, we had the Book of Enosh in Hush Hush. And I think the Book of Enosh came up in another series, but I can't remember which one. Let's see. And the Lord of Lords told the devout but frightened human that he had been chosen for a very special purpose. Apparently, virgin birth equals Enosh. God explained that he had seen something within Enosh, something that had rekindled the Creator's faith in humanity. The Almighty then bestowed upon... Well, I scrolled too far. Hold on. Bestowed upon Enosh a gift unlike any other, taking all that was good about his angels and merging it with all that he loved of humanity. Then he added a piece of his own godliness. This new being, the Metatron, was above all other creatures, except, of course, God himself. The Metatron would be an aspect of God residing upon the earth, guiding humanity toward the zenith of its potential. God sent Tarshish and his fellow Malachim, yes, Tarshish is a Malachim. He's one of the last of the Malachim. And his fellow Malachim to the world to watch the Metatron to record for him the sensations and wonders of an emerging paradise. It was then that Tarshish finally shared his doubt with his brothers, and they were outraged by Tarshish's lack of faith and disavowed him, using powerful angel magics to wipe away their memories of existence. It was a punishment meant to make him realize the severity of his doubts, but it only strengthened Tarshish's resolve. As he lived amidst man during the earliest days, watching as things were secretly guided by the Metatron, he had to wonder when it would all come crashing down. The power of his doubt brought Tarshish to the attention of the architects, and he stood before them in awe of these first angels that he had never truly believed existed. The architects had been amongst God's first creations, and they were being so powerful and headstrong that he had willed them away in favor of the more obedient creations that would be his messengers. But the architects had managed to survive, hiding themselves in the shadows of the new world, continuing the purpose for which they had been made to create. Those sneaky bastard architects! And that is until the Metatron appeared, stifling their plans, their creativity. And now the architects sought someone or something to remove this hindrance to their plans. And he was supposed to team up with Malice to destroy the Metatron. And now we're going back to, now Verchiel sees the prophet. And this is when they're in the land where it all began with the prophecy. A frozen moment, when heaven showed me a glimpse of what was yet to come, a frozen moment in time, because I brought you to show you that you still have a part to play, but it has yet to be determined. This is what the prophet says, and this is important. A choice, you have a choice to make, a choice yet not made, but one that will soon be expressed. And then Malice explains that we killed the Metatron's human aspect, releasing the power of God into the ether. And we could get that power back. We could place it within a host that could handle all its power. And they want to put it in Aaron. But we'll get to that in a second. So Roger is really Enosh, and he was a missionary of the highest order, God, human, and angel. Enosh was a trinity of the All-Father's most cherished creations, and he was to watch over the world and its inhabitants. He was the Metatron, the voice of God here on earth. Enosh had been taken to heaven and paraded before all the heavenly hosts as the recipient of God's greatest gift. And Enosh had been transformed before all angels. Enosh was the Metatron. Roger remembers how his human aspect was killed by Malice and Tarshish, and he starts crying because he's flipping the fuck out. And then Malice mentions, the Metatron is composed of the three aspects, the divine, the human, and the angelic. And by killing its human aspect, we cause the Metatron to unincorporate. And then Tarshish says on the other parts, they exist in the world, and we would have to find them, control them, and then bring them back to you. And Malice says these aspects would be joined to you. And Tarshish says, and you would become the Metatron, the perfect fusion of God, angel, and man. But you would be the Metatron. And Malice says, no more Aaron Corbett, no more leader of the Nephilim, you would be the Metatron. And I mentioned that Laura Lee got busted. like Melissa was like Melissa's character got so freaking badass. Like in this book and in Armageddon, Melissa became a badass because she was kind of like, she didn't really do that much, but like, man, this book and Armageddon, she stepped it up. Let's see. And then now we get to Malice. Like, she did something that fucking Verchiel didn't do. She destroyed the machine because Verchiel was scared out of his mind. And then Malice then goes into saying, the power of the Metatron couldn't exist alone in the world. It had to find a host or hosts. And the power remembered what it had been a part of a special trinity that had composed the Metatron. And it basically found 3 hosts. And Tarshish says, and it was corrupted in the process. And Malice says the power of God was meant to help humanity and has been used for less than righteous purposes all of these years. So think where it could be. Just think about it. And, like, I gotta say, that's awesome that Tarshish wears an old person costume when he wants to take it easy. Because remember, they found him in an old person home. I just thought that was really cool. Let's see. Those bastard architect, like, one of the Asians killed Jeremy's mom. I was like, no, because she was so cool. And then Anash says, I'm the last hope of humanity. If I don't make it, none of us will. Yeah, it kind of reminded me of a Stewie moment, too. And then fucking Darkstar killed Lorelei and Krause. Like, no, I was so sad. But Lorelei was fucking awesome, and it reminded me of kind of what happened in Rapture when Dee destroyed the library. Lorelei fucking destroyed the library, and at least did that, so the Darkstar couldn't get access to the to Scholar's library. And then the freaking dragon destroyed the instrument. That was so freaking insane. And then the Darkstar stabbed Aaron and inserted darkness into him. And then Satan saw the graves of the Nephil, and he's about to create dark angels. And now we're getting to the epilogue. So the architects want to recruit. They stop time because they want to recruit and talk to Verchiel because they want to recruit Verchiel for their cause. So Vilma took Aaron to her aunt and uncle's place to heal. And this is how it ends with, who are, and Vilma began, but she felt the rest of the question slip away before it could leave her mouth. What kind of mother would I be to hurt my son? Vilma was drifting off, no longer able to fight the drug that coursed through her body. Mother? Vilma slurred, her eyes so very heavy. Yes, dear, I'm his mother, the woman said. I'm Taylor Corbett, and I've come to save my son. Yes, Taylor is back! I'm so happy that Taylor is back. And, Taylor is gonna be awesome in Armageddon. I can tell you that right now, Nerdigans. This book is like my favorite, and this and Armageddon are tied, I should say, for my favorite. I love this book so much. Like, there's so much action in it, and you get a better understanding of the art, like the true villain. It's not the Darkstar that's the true villain. The true villain of this series is the architects. It's just insane. And I want to know what you Nerdigans thought about this. Were you shocked about Taylor still being alive and what Malice's role was in keeping Taylor alive? I'm curious. What was your favorite part of this book? Did you like how baby Anash was acting like Stewie? He totally was a Stewie. And do you think Jeremy is like the Brian to his Stewie? I swear to Kami he is. But anyway, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Nerdigans Inc. And also, I definitely want to know what you think of this mythology compared to the other angel mythology that we've discussed in the hashtag AngelReadAthon so far. If you like what I'm doing and want to become a Nerdigan today, go donate to my Patreon. The link's in the description box below. And if you want to see more shenanigans that I cause on the interwebs, go follow me on Twitter. I cause plenty of them. And my Twitter handle is in the description box below. And until next time, Nerdigans, the next book Nerdigan discussion video is going to be the final book of this series. And then we have one more series to go before we're at the end of the hashtag AngelReadAthon and the rant. So until next time, Nerdigans, I will be seeing you in Armageddon by Thomas E. Sniegoski. Until next time, Nerdigans, bye!